Hello everybody, Russell here from VectorVest. So let's get into the weekly video. This is interesting. MTI, Market Timing Indicator. So no doubt you've heard VectorVest. In particular, I recall Todd Schaefer, our manager of research there, does a great job there at VectorVest. Todd Schaefer mentioned a few years back in one of the webcasts I watched that he conducted, and he noted that the MTI is the smartest indicator in the box, and it's worth the subscription price to VectorVest alone. I totally agree. Why? Well, let's go and have a look here. All right, so I'm going to click on graphs here. There's two different ways you can do it. Graphs, if I go to market timing, that's one such way that I can do it. Or if you prefer, you can click on timing, and then you can click your market timing graph, and it'll pop up in a separate window. Up to you how you prefer to do it. I'll do it this way today, graphs, and then market timing, okay? And once you've put on your market timing graph, I'm going to change the layout here, so the VectorVest MTI layout. This will include the 65-day moving average on all the shares that we track, the MTI and the buy to sell ratio and the RT. I'm going to turn this all off for now. The only one I want to keep on is MTI. All right, so put on MTI, right click, change style. I'll make mine jump out just a bit more here. All right, that's a good color there. Stands out well, easy to see. All right, and I'll just turn off some of these indicators here just to make it jump out a bit more. So you'll see why Todd Schaefer and many others, myself included, we refer to this as the smartest indicator in the box, because when the MTI is above 1, we note the underlying trend of the market is up. Look at this. The MTI has effectively been above 1 for quite some time, hasn't it? There it kind of dipped below just temporarily here, but look at the run in the market. So the MTI has been telling you the underlying trend of the market is up. You'll see here the MTI dipped below 1, and it fell to one of its lowest points for quite some time. You'd have to go all the way back to around about the 11th of May 2020, where the MTI got to such a level. But look at that. Look at the rebound. The rebound has been very, very swift. Up it goes again. Okay, so the underlying trend of the market has been up for quite some time. And look at the performance there in the Australian market. If I pull it back in time over here, let's go all the way back to here. There, leading into the global financial crisis. Here we are, there's a global financial crisis, and this is where the rebound started to take place. But look how accurate VectorVest was over here. The MTI was sitting well below 1 for most of the time, all right, apart from a few blips here or there where the market was trying to sort of rally, and then here we go. This is where the global financial crisis really came into play, and the MTI pretty much remained below 1 for quite some time thereafter. And look at the extreme levels that it fell down to. Now, typically, we note that the MTI in Australia around about that 0.6 level. So around about 0.6, that's where the market is effectively looking for a bottom. All right, so the market has bottomed out. All right, so there's your coronavirus market sell down. Look at that. Look how low it went, all the way down to about 0.28. The market was screaming at you to say, we have found rock bottom. You're not going to get much better prices than this in terms of how far we have fallen. Of course, time would tell, but based on a historical viewing over here, you can see the MTI there during the coronavirus market sell down was lower than during the global financial crisis. You see over here, the global financial crisis, MTI pretty much bottomed out around about here at 0.44 versus 0.28, around about there during the coronavirus market sell down. Now, what I'm going to do here, and this is interesting, you've got the powerful MTI indicator at your fingertips, and here's the power of VectorVest. You can take one of our proprietary indicators, and then you can apply a moving average on that proprietary indicator. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to right-click anywhere where it notes MTI, and I'm going to click on Add Moving Average, and I'll put in a simple moving average, let's say a 40-day. Now I'm going to bump this up, and there's a reason why. I'm going to show you now. I'm going to move it all the way up to 150. So I'm going to slow down the MTI quite dramatically. So there we are, 150, and put the graph on. Let's right click. Let's change style. Let's make it jump out a wee bit more. And there we go. Okay. Now this is interesting because when you look at it over here, this is MTI breaks above 1. But you can see if I zoom it in over here, the MTI breaks above 1 and has 1 or 2 days where it's below 1. 1 or 2 days where it's below 1, but the overall trend of the market was still powering up. So if I remove MTI and look at it this way, look over here. So for example, if I apply a 150-day moving average on MTI, I've smoothed it out a bit. Got to be careful, because if you smooth things out too much, I'm applying a fair bit of smoothing here. The higher the number, the more you're smoothing it out. All right, it won't be quite as responsive, but at the same time too, it also gives you a very good indicator in terms of the overall trend. So we know the MTI is looking at the underlying trend of the market. And if we're applying a 150-day moving average on the MTI, and we're seeing here the 150-day moving average is above 1, gives us a fair indication that this market is still very bullish. Okay, so the way I'm sort of looking at it at the moment is I like to use two in combination. So here, for example, I can see, oh, there the MTI just blipped below 1 temporarily, and I put my 150-day moving average on. Go, well, look, the overall trend's still pretty good. All right, on I go again. Here we have it, a little bit of a setback there. 150-day moving average still holding up very well. Okay, so just a tip and technique there to smooth it out a bit to minimize some of the noise. I like to do that on some of the key proprietary indicators in VectorVest, but be careful. Don't just rely on your moving average on MTI. Be aware what the MTI is telling you, and be aware, of course, in combination with your market timing signals. This is just a technique to smooth it out a bit. So you'll see, for example, on the Midas Touch, we smooth out relative timing, right? So relative timing for certain shares, it can be quite erratic at times. If we apply a moving average on relative timing, it can smooth it out a bit. Okay, so interesting, because applying in this example here a 150, we can see that the market is definitely coming a little bit under pressure here, but it certainly didn't drop below 1. So play around with your smoothing technique if that is of interest to you. What smoothing number gives you some of the best results? Okay, so if I go back in time over here, and I see over here, for example, you can see the 150-day did not help me get out from the market sell down on coronavirus. But having said that, I did see that the trend was continuing to go lower and lower and lower. So I was getting plenty of warning that things were about to go down. At least the market was taking a breather. If I then put the MTI back on, all right, so you see over here it was coming up, 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 and then all of a sudden down it goes very quickly. Okay, so smoothing technique can be incredibly powerful, but for those of you, of course, that have got a lot of experience with VectorVest, you'll see over here, you know, you were starting to hit low and lower highs. Then the market sort of came up temporarily, and that's where, right, those with a sharp eye were seeing this starting to take place. You started to see, uh-oh, something's taking place. It's starting to fall, and then there we are. There's your coronavirus market sell down. If you don't like to look for that each day, of course, then you may consider wanting to smooth it out. I'm not saying that the 150-day moving average is the best one to apply. I'll just clean up my lines over here. Experiment. See which ones work best. Email me through russellmarkham@vectorvest.com. Have a play. Have any of you applied a smoothing technique to the MTI? Which one works best for you? So a very useful technique. You can do this on all of our proprietary indicators. You can smooth them out by applying moving averages. Right now, I quite like this 150-day moving average, because what tends to sort of happen in the market at the moment is we get a bit of a pullback and then up it goes again. We get a bit of a pullback and up it goes again. And we're seeing this in the US, for example. So I've smoothed it out over here, but I'm just wary of the fact that this is taking place. We're starting to see in this example the 150-day moving average starting to slow down. All right, if I put my MTI back on, it gives me a indicator of that too, because you're seeing this, right? On average, you're starting to see the MTI falling away, so the moving average just helps me highlight that fact. Okay, so I'll just remove my lines here. All right, let us know. What do you think? What smoothing do you apply if you apply smoothing to the MTI? Until next week, have a great weekend, everybody. Bye for now.